Live, I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe. Boy, are we excited.
Man, this is a treat. I mean, here we get to talk to this legend about so many things. He's got a Christmas special coming up. If you're watching Facebook Live or YouTube Live, it's Mark Lowry. You can get ahead of us by going to marklowrychristmas.com. Coming up on TBN, it is the Mark Lowry Presents Simply Christmas Show. It's been 30 years since Mary Did You Know is released. What an epic song. Mark, how are you?
I'm well. How are you guys doing? Look at there. Y'all just so technological savvy. Look at that. I love this. I do a show on my Facebook called Just Whenever. I go live just whenever I feel like it.
Uh-huh.
And I love all this kind of technical stuff, but I am so glad to be with you guys this morning.
Well, we're glad to have you. I mean, like Rick said, you're a legend, and just
Lord.
not only for writing "Mary Did You Know," but just being a hysterical, a Christian comedian that just like set the bar for Christian comedians. We love you.
Oh well, that was all an accident. I did not mean that to happen. I was singing in independent fundamental Baptist churches in 1980 to 88, and they wouldn't shout, they wouldn't clap, but they would laugh. And that's how I knew they were listening. And all I cared about is, are they listening? And
right.
And I had to do something. I thought I was just a singer. And so I had to do something while the little old man in the back of the church would change the soundtracks, And so I started talking.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I was onto something. I realized they were really listening when I talked, and they were kind of daydreaming when I sang.
Yeah, right.
So I decided to dance with Who Brung Me, and that kind of took off.
Awesome.
Mark Lowry, he's got a special coming up. In fact, Mark, if I'm not mistaken, you're coming to Atlanta December the 3rd at First Baptist in Woodstock.
Yes, with the Gaither Christmas show. Bill Gaither is 85.
What?
So he's 85. That's the reason when he asked me to do something, I go do it. So he asked me to go with him on his Christmas tour. And how many more years am I going to get to do that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Lord, I guess his mansion's not ready or something. Vestal's probably wondering if he made it, you don't hurry up. But he's 85. He's healthy as the Energizer Bunny. And I'm going with him on that Christmas tour just because I love hanging out with him. And he calls me about every day. We've been, he's such a good friend. It's such a great mentor.
Yeah.
I heard in an interview, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, he was on with James Dobson's folks.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize he was 85, but he doesn't sound 85. He's just as spry and full of energy.
Oh, yes. When I first started with him, I was 30, right? Now I'm 63. So when I first started with him, he was probably a little younger than I am now, but he was the old guy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was like the perpetual 10-year-old making fun of his hair. That's kind of the shtick that we came up with. And now it's like two grumpy old men up there, because I've aged into it, But what a fun man. And Gloria, if you could just hang out with her, it's worth everything. Just the wisdom. Her blonde does not go to the root. She is brilliant.
How cool is it, though? I started off with you being a legend, and you certainly are, but those two have penned so many songs.
Oh.
In fact, I read a list one time, and I didn't realize that they had penned that many songs that even other people have done. It's just unbelievable.
I know. I mean, Bill's the music side of it. Of course, Bill wrote He Touched Me all by himself. But when he met Gloria, he put the pen down.
Yeah.
Because her lyrics are straight from the throne. I mean, there's so much theology in them. That's what I love about the old hymns and the Gaither songs. If you didn't have the Bible, you could find Jesus.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He's in there. He's in the songs.
Now, speaking of songwriting, let's talk about the 30th anniversary of Mary Did You Know. You wrote that song 30 years ago.
I wrote the lyrics. Buddy Green wrote the music.
Now, for those who don't know the story, tell us how the lyrics of Mary Did You Know came about, because it's such a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Well, it really, people ask that question all the time. And it really started with Mama. because Mama and I talked about it all the time about, if we could have a cup of coffee with Mary, what would we ask her? What was it like raising God?
Yeah.
What was it like changing God's diapers? What did you think when you looked down and Jehovah was nursing at your breast?
Wow. Yeah.
What was it like to teach the word of God to talk?
Wow.
Most of the questions we had, and I had really as a kid, didn't make the song. The only ones that made the song were the ones that rhymed.
Yeah.
But I mean, did you ever go and make him get a haircut? What was it like being his little brothers, following him to school? All the human side of him, I guess, because we know the God side of him, but sometimes we forget he probably stubbed his toe and cried.
Mm-hmm.
He became human. He set aside his ability to know everything because he said, I don't know when I'm coming back.
Right.
Only the Father knows, and you'll have to wait for John Hagee to get here. No. But he said, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know. He had to depend on the Father. He was the perfect example of who we should be, because we have to depend on the Father too. If we're doing it right,
Yeah. Right.
And so, anyway, so my pastor called me. What year was it? 1984. And he asked me if I would write the Living Christmas Tree program for our church. And, being young and not knowing I couldn't, I said I would. and I proceeded to try, but I put something together. But one of the monologues I wrote for that show had elements of Mary Did You Know in it. And the germ was planted there. But when I wrote, I wonder if Mary realized the power and the authority and the majesty she cradled in her arms that first Christmas. I wonder if she realized those little hands that had scooped out oceans and formed rivers were now wrapped around hers, and little lips that had spoken worlds into existence were uttering unintelligible baby noise. I was trying to sound like Gloria Gaither, basically. and I said, I wonder if somehow this line, and the baby she delivered that first Christmas would one day on a cross deliver her. Yeah. And that was the first time I'd ever seen deliver used like that. And I broke into chills. And then a little while later out came and the baby she kissed that first Christmas wasn't just another child. She was kissing the face of God.
Yeah.
And so after that, I sat down and formed it into a lyric. And I carried it around from 1984 to 1991, trying to get someone to put music to it. And many tried, but I decided if it was a marriage or not. And I told them that. I knew this lyric was special.
Yeah.
I didn't know how special.
Yeah. Mark Lowry. Mark Lowry, we're talking about Mary Did You Know, and Mark presenting Simply Christmas Show on TBN. My wife's favorite lyric.
Well, actually, let me correct you. It's not going to be on TBN. It's going to be live streamed.
Oh, okay.
And you go to marklowrychristmas.com to purchase a $15 ticket, and your whole family can watch. Your whole church you can invite the whole neighborhood, but $15 ticket will get you in for the 2-hour program that they tell me if it turns out good, they're going to edit it down to an hour for TBN like the week of Christmas.
So no pressure, but it's got to be good.
You know what? I'm going to have fun if they don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm there. I'm having a good time because that's 2 hours I can never get back.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
My wife's favorite lyric, and this is what breaks her into tears. When you kiss your little baby, you kiss the face of God. That one is the one that tears her up every single time. Did you know? I know you carried it around. You wrote it. It came from on the inside of you. At what point did you know, wow, this song is really bigger than I thought?
That's a great question. Well, I'll tell you a little story if you got time.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was 11 years old, I don't know when my next interview is, but anyway, when I was 11, this preacher came to our church. I'll give you the Cliff Notes, and he preached on Solomon. I remember this. I don't remember the sermon, but I remember that God blessed Solomon because he asked for wisdom and didn't ask for, money or fame or. And he said, the preacher said, if you want wisdom, come down to that altar. So I got down there and I said, "Gonna get me some of that wisdom." I was 11. And I remember praying that prayer, Lord, I'd like some wisdom. And before I got up, I asked for 2 more things. I said, I'd like an interesting life. And I would like to do something that will outlive me. I don't know why I prayed that, but I did. And I moved on with my life, forgot about it till about 30 years later. I'm at the Walmart buying Christmas CDs when they still sold them. I guess they still do. I don't know. But, and I picked up Natalie Cole's CD and Mary Did You Know was on it. And I picked up Donny Osmond and Mary Did You Know, his CD, just looking what song, Mary Did You Know was on it.
Wow.
And I didn't even know they'd recorded it. And the Lord reminded me of that prayer.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Because that will outlive me more than likely.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully. I'd like for it to.
Yeah.
And if I could leave one thing behind, if the Lord had laid out my life at my feet and said, choose anything you can leave, I would have chosen that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I believe every word of it. I believe Jehovah was lying in her lap, uttering unintelligible baby noises.
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe it, and I believe he grew in favor with God and man, just like we have to. According, he's our example. And if you can't actually be like him, fake it till you make it. Be kind, be nice, love the outcast, love the broken. Find the person in the room that no one's talking to and go befriend them. That's Jesus, I think.
That's so good.
Now, I'm going to ask a question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but you've probably heard a bajillion different versions of your song. Is there one or a few that make you just, when you hear it, you go, oh my gosh, that's so just chills?
The Christ Church Choir, Nashville, they did it one year and it was so majestic. It felt like a movie score. I mean, when they sang it, and I'd never heard a choir sing it.
Yeah.
But it was the most incredible arrangement. And I love mine and Voctive. Have you ever heard of a group called Voctive?
No.
Oh my goodness. Google them, people. Listen to me. VOCTAVE. It's an a cappella group. They all love the Lord. They also sing at Disney. They're all these Disney voices, but they formed their own group called Voctive. And they asked me if I would do Mary Did You Know with them. And they arranged it. And I have to hold a note for 18 seconds.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But I like that one. Let me see. Danny Goki, I like his. CeeLo Green, love his. Let me think. Oh, there's a disco version. Did I tell you?
No.
Really?
A lady named Christine W. Kristine W. Did it, and it played in disco bars one Christmas. And she enunciates every word. I mean, her voice is out front. So one Christmas, I was preaching in disco bars and didn't have to leave my couch. Or my Lazy Boys. That's my favorite place on earth, and the Lord knows it. That is where I was sitting when I heard Jordan Smith do it on The Voice.
Oh,
that is one of my favorite. I cried when I saw, because I have the subtitles. I'm so old. I have to have the subtitles.
I'm with you.
Bill Gaither blew out my ears. And so I saw my words going across that screen, and I knew 16 million people.
Wow.
Were hearing about Jesus.
Wow.
That's amazing.
This song is not really about Mary. It's about Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who it's about.
Mark, that is so good. MarkLowryChristmas.com. Get your tickets. It's going to be a great show, 2 hours. And when he feels like it, just whenever, check out his show that he does.
On Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Are things, I guess, I'm assuming things are opening up publicly for you. What's 2022 look like for you? You're going to be doing more?
I'm booked. I'm booked up. This year and next year is already totally booked up. But I'm only doing 30 concerts, and I'm vaccinated, and I wish everybody would be. I haven't grown a tail yet. I got the Moderna, which is supposedly the Rolls Royce of the vaccinations.
Wow.
Yes.
And I encourage, and I've got the booster, and I wear a mask when I'm told to. And I might be a little Stepford Christian, I guess. Some people, but I think I don't like polio, and I don't like COVID. And vaccinations have fixed one, and will fix this.
Yeah. Wow.
It's no conspiracy, people.
Mark, you're such a huge blessing. Mark. Well said. Well said. Yes. MarkLowryChristmas.com, and check out just whenever, or when Mark comes near us, which he will be at First Baptist Church in Woodstock on December the 3rd, which I believe is a Friday night. Check out the Gaither Vocal Band, and Mark will be doing his things. No doubt he'll be making fun of Bill's toupee.
Oh, yeah. That last one he had was made out of cat hair. Every time he scratched his head, his rear went up. That's an old joke, isn't it? God bless you guys.
I love that. Oh,
love you, gosh. Mark. Love you. Appreciate you. Thank you for what you've done. Hey, we got to take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.